Alrighty, well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you again for being here for our last candidate forum of the day to go over our presidential tickets and their different platforms. Just for a general area of our two procedures, there's three. Any questions asked by the audience will be asked of all candidates for the same position with the same amount of time allotted for a response, which today is generally going to be 2 minutes. No candidate may ask questions of the other candidates so that there is no way to give an unfair advantage or disadvantage to the candidates on the panel today. And lastly, following the forums, any statement about ASI that are factually incorrect will be addressed on the ASI website fact-checking section. Now that we did a general regards to procedures for general roadmap of what today and what we'll be structuring pretty much, we're going to do 3 minutes for joint opening statements, which guards both candidates will have a joint opening statement. After that, we're going to pose a general question and both candidates will have a joint response. The answer will be 2 minutes maximum. And then following that, we'll do 2 minutes of a question and answer for the positional question of both the president and the executive vice president. Once I have all of those questions answered, we're going to do questions from the audience. So start thinking about those now, and please feel free to direct message that to me. That way I can get that out to y'all if this appropriate question, basically. Once we do that Q&A session from the audience, we'll do closing statements, which are going to be 4 minutes for that joint closing statement. But with that being said, though, we're going to go ahead and start off with our presidential tickets. Dewan, I believe I'm sorry, let me just confirm this real quick. Yeah, Dewan and Karina, you are going to be starting us off today with your opening statements, but the floor is yours and you have 3 minutes for this. Just so you know, our beer will be timekeeping for us. And once you have 30 seconds left, I believe she will be sending a message in the chat saying 30 seconds. And then once you have 10 seconds left, she'll say the same thing. And if the time elapses, she'll interject pretty much. But with that being said, the floor is.
Sorry, Tam, did you share, I might have missed it, that candidates cannot ask each other? Did you share that already?
I did, and I'll reiterate it once we get to that section. But yeah, the floor is yours.
Hi, good afternoon, Hornets. My name is Karina Renee Payton. I'm a rising senior majoring in international relations and double minoring in social justice and education and economics. And I'm running to be your next executive vice president.
Hello, I'm Dewan. I'm the current ASI Regional Letters Director, Vice President Kappa Alpha Psi, and I'm the co-founder of Collegiate 100 here at Sac State. And I'm running to be your next ASI president.
Together, we're bringing Your Voice, Our Action to life, a campaign rooted in real change. We created Hornet Power to prioritize what students actually need: health, opportunities, resources, networking, engagement, and more.
And we just want to reiterate that we're not here to talk at students. We're here to work with you and for you by advocating for professional development pipelines, pushing for real transparency and uplifting our culturally diverse communities. We're also ready to lead boldly and serve with intention.
And just to say again, this isn't just a campaign, it's a call to action because when you combine purpose with power, real change follows. So let's make sure your voice doesn't just echo, it makes waves.
Thank y'all, thank y'all. So now that we did that, we're gonna go on over to Aranjot, Carr, and Richard.
Everyone, I'm Aranjot Kaur, and I'm running for the president's position. I'm an international student from India. I'm the student founder of Combat U, currently the president of two clubs in Combat U, and I serve as an ambassador for the Way of the Horny campaign. My journey here has been about addressing the gaps in resources and advocating for it. Even Combat U, I planted the seed even before coming to the United States when I reached out to the authorities about it. And coming to this platform, my goal is to keep doing what I do and bring the resources to you.
Hey everybody, my name is Richard Angulo, pronouns he, him, and I'm currently an MBA student pursuing entrepreneurship and global business. I'm originally from Rancho Cordova, go Lancers, and my journey at Sac State as a transfer student from Sacramento City College as a Panther has been deepened not only through a Sacramento State College Corps program, part of the College Corps initiative put on by the state, but also as an alum of Delta Lambda Phi, where I can exemplify my own experiences of being a brother from handing down from my father, sharing the experiences of Greek life here at Sac State, and really deepening my experiences, not only through the brotherhood, but the collective shared with the sisterhood as well. As somebody who's faced housing and food insecurities, I understand what it's like to be in the shoes of many students that are facing all the crises here at Sac State. That's why, as an alum of College Corps, I decided to fight food insecurities by working with a nonprofit over in Oak Park through urban farming. And that's when I realized that this issue is multifaceted. Going into ASI, I'm realizing it's not just all these small issues, but going at a bird's eye view, I can see that there are so many things facing our students. But if we work together and come together at the table and work collaboratively, we can tackle anything that ails us.
Now, coming to the table, we're fighting for four different resources. Our fight for campus safety, fight for innovation, fight for diversity, equity, and inclusivity, and fight for financial affordability. And moving forward in the meeting, we are looking forward to elaborating on them.
Correct. And also for me, one of the things that I've noticed or actually listened to the student body is number one thing is that Greek life should be represented at the ASI level. So it not only like to have them have a seat at the table to help shape policies that affect not just them, but the student body as well, but also try to remove the stigma associated with Greek life by exemplifying all the great things that they do, not just in their own silos, but also community wide. So if we can go ahead and, as I said, I believe that visibility is a key to social change, and I'm here to be that catalyst.
Being in all those shoes and knowing what it feels like to be an international student, coming here and starting a whole life, and Richard coming with his background, we here know what the students go through.
Time.
Actually, Herbir, we didn't also get the. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, I'm dropping
thank
them in
you.
the chat too. So
Okay,
I'll from 30 down to 10.
thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Alrighty, thank y'all. We're now gonna go over to our second presidential ticket. And this is, I'm sorry, our third and final presidential ticket, Armando and Shaya.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Sac State. My name is Armando Julian Perez.
And my name is Chaya Vikash
We stand here today as your candidates for ASI President,
and Executive Vice President.
driven by a shared passion for making a real difference in your student experience. We know that too many of us have felt disconnected from the decisions that impact our campus, unsure about where to voice concerns or how to get the support we need. We've heard from you about the lack of transparency, the struggles to engage with ASI representatives, and the feeling that student government doesn't always reflect the voices of you, the students.
As your leaders, we commit to tackling these problems head on with practical, impactful solutions, such as increasing transparency. We believe that ASI should be a direct reflection of the student body's voice. That means clear communication, open channels for feedback, and regular in-person forums where students can meet with their representatives to express concerns and to have their questions answered.
Secondly is revitalizing student life. Too many students feel disconnected or excluded from the vibrant life that this campus should offer. We propose possible increased talk funding for student clubs and organizations and the creation of a Club Rush event, also more inclusive and higher energy events and better accessibility to resources for clubs to connect with students. We want to bring back the excitement and energy that makes Sac State a place where students feel at home from day one.
We also want to build a more student-centered ASI as a whole. ASI must work with students, not just for them. We will actively partner with organizations and clubs to better understand their needs and promote a truly inclusive community. We'll prioritize face-to-face engagement by tabling, hosting events, and being present where students are, not just relying on social media for communication.
We believe in a Sac State that is not just a place to get an education, but a place where every student feels valued, involved, and empowered. Today, we are here to hear your thoughts, answer your questions, and discuss how we can work together to make Sac State a campus that lives up to its potential. This is your time, your voice, and we are committed to amplifying it in every decision we make. We already have the experience, we have the drive, passion, and goals, and so we are excited to make real, meaningful change together. Thank you.
Thank y'all. We're now going to go over and do our general question. And this one is going Yes, this is going to be 2-minute joint answer for the general question, essentially. And I'll put this in the chat as well. We're going to start off with Duan and Karina for this first one. And it is, what is your vision for ASI? Once again, what is your vision for ASI? And you have 2 minutes to respond.
Oh, sorry. My bad. My vision for ASI is really to emphasize your voice, our action. I think, as I think was mentioned earlier, there's a transparency level that is not being met and disconnect between students on what ASI does and what is being said at what ASI does. The transparency of process is what I definitely want to emphasize and really allow the students to see and involve them with, as well as show that like ASI isn't just like kings in a castle, that we are students. We are students. We eat at the same places, we party next to you. We do all these things next to you. We are not just we're not above the people we're serving because we are in this position because of them and the students. So students should be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with my running mate. Our vision for ASI is simple but powerful, a student government that shows up, speaks up, and follows through. As it's been mentioned previously, transparency is very important. A lot of students are not aware of what is happening in ASI or where they go to get their resources and stuff on campus are drastically like not utilized as well, such as the food pantry or the ASI scholarships. So what I envision is an ASI that is for the students by the students.
Thank you both for that response. I'm going to go ahead and transition over to Aranjot and Richard for this following question as well, and it should be in the chat.
Hello, everyone. My vision for ASI is really simple. That is to bridge the gap between ASI and the students. Coming here as an international, I've seen all the problems that the student body faces. So there are four assets that I really want to tackle. First, financial affordability, because we know that because of the tuition increase and the budget cuts, we all have been really, really suffering. I want to propose better measures for the CSU system, especially through a cohort-based tuition system where your tuition is logged and then the new fee increase applies to the incoming class. That's my long-term vision. And for innovation, we want to make sure that the resources are available to students, be it student startups or your internships. For diversity, the transitional guidance for international students, and then for disability students, and then Greek life, which needs representation. And for campus safety, there has been 200% increase in cases, sexual assault cases, according to State Hornet. And I want to see how we can tackle that through better patrols, lighting, and self-defense resources. And all of this fosters towards one vision to make Sac State a better place for everybody.
So yeah, with my vision for ASI, again, as our previous colleagues have said, I envision that ASI is not some monolithic institution, that I wanted to be more approachable. So our position is to be a catalyst for change through having regular meetings, being out there, and moreover, regaining trust in ASI. As I've tabled this past week, many, many times again have I heard that it's not being a trusted institution. And I want to be more of a approachable stake. And then also recognizing, especially with scholarships, how can we make that easier for students to be accessible? If money's being left over every single year, especially with the impact of budget cuts, we need to streamline these processes, identify bottlenecks, and make it way better for students to have. Thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you both. We're going to go ahead and finish off with Armando and Shaya, please. The question is in the chat in which you all have 2 minutes to respond.
Thank you. So, with our vision for ASI is to really create an organization that is also student-centered, inclusive, and transparent, as we previously mentioned. And so we kind of want ASI to be a place where students not only feel heard, but are also actively involved in shaping the decisions that impact them, such as being in committees. And so our goal is to create a community where every student, no matter their background or their interests, feel connected and supported.
Yeah, and just bouncing off of what he's saying, I think we'll also prioritize better communication just about resources, scholarships, and just programs as a whole, just to make sure that students know what's available to them. Because I know we have a lot of resources available already that are just not promoted well or as much. And by enhancing student life and outreach, whether through more events or in-person connections, or just effective communication. We want to ensure that ASI is engaging with all students, and that too, as we mentioned before, not just on social media, but also we value the face-to-face connection as well.
And as like the previous President Ticket mentioned, we see ASI as the bridge between students and the university, and so fostering that collaboration and accountability as well. So our vision is to ensure that every voice is heard, every student is represented, sorry, and every decision reflects the needs and values of the student body. And so hopefully together we will we'll be leaving a lasting impact on Sac State and creating a stronger and more connected community with ASI.
Thank you both. Thank you both. We're now going to transition on over to our presidential ticket. Not presidential ticket, our presidential question for the position specifically. I'm going to put this in the chat and we're going to start on over with Dewan. How do you plan to be responsive to the very diverse Sac State student body? Once again, how do you plan to be responsive to the very diverse of Sac State body? And you have 2 minutes to respond in the questions in the chat.
Yes. As a Black man on campus, I do see the struggles of multicultural communities on this campus, as I do have friends in multiple communities. And I think that really listening and actually taking the feedback into account and addressing those issues on an action base, not a so like a supportive, just make a stance base. I think there needs to be tangible action in anything you do, and when you're saying that you support these things. Um, I think especially now in this current state of academic education and social and mental health, we are seeing that people are not being listened to. Things are not being addressed. There are programs and things that are not what was it that are not helping students from all walks of life. I do think that really listening is what is really key. So
You know, on, we're now going to transition over to Aaron Shot. Are you still here with us? Perfect. The question's in the chat, and you have 2 minutes to respond on your first word.
Coming in as an international student, I came in here in 2023 and I faced all the challenges the diverse student body faces, be it cultural change, be it the shock, or be it the transitional guidance. And I think that one thing that I really faced myself and even my peers is the transitional guidance. So my solution to that involves hosting mandatory called Know Your Resources events at Sac State so that students get to know what resources are there for them so that when there's a need, it's not too late and Sac State is there for them. And I want to set the precedent from the beginning that all the students, the diverse student body can find their home away from home. Everyone comes here from different perspectives and backgrounds, and we need to make sure that Sac State is really a home away from home. And that begins from being there for them. They need to have the resources and they need to know that Sac State got their back. And another position for diversity, equity, inclusivity is around letters of accommodation, which Richard would really tap on further that we are really addressing is to make sure that the letter of accommodations are really respected. And we really want to promote diversity by collaborating with different cultural groups. Since the campaigning began, we really went out and talked to cultural groups. And we saw that some of them felt that their representation was really not being respected. And they felt like they were being sidelined. So I really want to see why there's a gap between there. And one major chunk I found out that Greek life is not really too involved with ASI. Why are they not at the table when decisions are being made? So we reached out to fraternities, sororities recently, and we found out that they want their voice to be heard at the table. That's how we are really promoting and supporting the diverse student body so that everyone feels safe and welcome. And just like I say, I found my home away from home, everyone does at Sac State. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're now going to go on over to Armando, please, to close us out for the presidential position question.
Yes, thank you. So I know that with being responsive to Sac State within ASI is really with social media, and so social media can be a barrier for some students as not everyone has access to it, or some people really just take a break from it. And so it's important to remember that there are many different ways to engage with students beyond just the digital platforms. And so Sac State having the designations of an Asian American, Native American, Pacific Islander serving institution, Hispanic serving institution, and the first ever Black serving institution, we do have a unique opportunity to collaborate with our incredible multicultural centers. And so, as ASI president, my goal is to work closely with these centers to create those open channels of communication and provide opportunities for students to engage with ASI. And not just with multicultural centers as well, but also with the different councils for the Greek life, as well as the clubs. We have over 200 plus clubs registered on Sac State. And so, we want to make sure every single one of them is being heard. And as I will ensure that we are present with these events as well. So large or small events, attending in person to show support and connect with the students who may not be reached through social media. And so if there's an event, I'll be there to listen, learn, and support.
Alrighty, thank you all, presidential candidates. We're now going to go on over to the executive vice president question, and I'm going to put it in the chat as well. Karina, this one first is going to you. If elected, what will be your number one priority as an ASI executive vice president? Once again, if elected, what would be your number one priority as the ASI executive vice president?
Okay. So it may sound repetitive, but it's imperative. Transparency. That would be my number one priority as the ASI EVP. So many students are in the dark about what's happening on campus, whether it's available resources like the ASI scholarships, as we mentioned, or vital updates like the college merger status. Just last week, I actually spoke with a student genuinely stressed about the merger, unaware that it's not even happening. The lack of communication shouldn't exist. As EVP, I want to be the bridge between students and the decisions affecting them. I'll prioritize clear, consistent outreach and make sure students aren't just included, they're informed. Additionally, just knowing more about ways to get involved in ASI and getting more student voices at the table is necessary. I'm currently a member of 5 ASI internal committees, and I believe that we need more representation from students of every walk of life, every background, no matter where they come from, because myself, I am a transfer student. So I advocate real strongly for students with disabilities, student parents, and transfer students, because I believe that getting your degree shouldn't cost your well-being or your identity. So you should still have that support that is necessary. So just being more transparent of the resources, of the ways they can show up and advocate for themselves, I believe is one of my biggest priorities as EVP.
Thank you, Karina. We're now going to go over to Richard, please. And the question is in the chat, in which you have 2 minutes to respond.
All right. So speaking from the heart, I believe that we need to have more structural changes versus symbolic. Time and time again, you've heard that we can go ahead and show that we have scholarships. We can go ahead and show that we have resources. But for example, for scholarships, how many times have students applied for them and gotten nothing? For me, from my junior to senior year, I've applied to 60 scholarships. I only got 3. And how many times have students applied for ASI, giving a bleeding heart story, and to come up with nothing, especially for $500? So coming from our entrepreneurship mindset, I believe that if we can identify bottlenecks within the financial aid scholarship process to say, hey, if we can go ahead and have the general application, I believe that we should have a solution of a one-click matching process. We can go ahead and match as many scholarships as we need. And then from there, anything that's left over, we can go ahead and answer those questions specifically. So another thing is that, as Aaron brought up, is that I'm a student with a disability. I'm hard of hearing, and that was later in life. I'm an adult learner, and this is something that I discovered. And it's been interesting navigating that journey, utilizing the resources of the Disability Access Center. As mentioned before, during one of my classes, I felt harassment. My letter of accommodation was not respected. And moreover, I had to go all the way up to a student contact, which students should not be facing. So, moreover, I want to have a streamlined process of saying, hey, not only are you aware of the letter of accommodation, but also held accountable with our professors. Moreover, is that I also saw that there was a need, especially speaking with the ASI food pantry, is that we have that available, but how can we expand spaces so that we can have more food for all students? Currently, the ASI food pantry serves 14,000 students, serving about $60 per student. So how can we have more access to that and reach out to a greater need?
Thank you. We're now going to go on over and end with this Executive Vice President question to Shaya.
Thank you, Tyler. If elected, we would be here for the students, by the students, right? So my priority as EVP would be to just take measures to ensure that each student is heard and that there's a clear transparency between ASI and the student body. I would create open forums for students to be able to voice their concerns and give feedback to the board consistently throughout the academic year. I think there are opportunities to do so already, as the board has office hours and there is public comment at their meetings. However, these times might not work for students and they might not know that these opportunities exist. So I think just being present with the students would help in allowing them to give us feedback on what they would like to see happen. I also think that meeting with student organizations who would want to partner with ASI to understand how we can better promote the over 200 clubs that we have on campus would be beneficial. I think just for students as well, so that they'd be able to find a place on campus where they can feel at home. There's a club that I think can fit anyone and everyone's interests on campus, and just promoting them would be beneficial for the clubs, for the students, and just for ASI to get a better understanding of the different things that we have on campus. I also think that sending newsletters monthly to students outlining what the efforts of ASI currently is would be beneficial for students so that they would understand what we are working on. And then that could also help them give their feedback on what else that they would like to see from us. And I think also just tabling more often just for students to see us and speak with us one-on-one would be beneficial for us as well. I think that, as we've mentioned before, that social media and just relying on social media to promote events and to rely on it just as our communication with students is not necessarily the most effective, as people don't have social media or are not on social media so often. So I think that just that one-on-one facial interaction with students is going to be great for all of us. Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty, thank you all for those answers to the questions that I have provided today. That is all that I have. We have a couple questions in the chat that we're going to take from the audience, basically. In case you haven't sent any, please feel free to send some to me. And just to reiterate, all questions asked will be asked to all candidates in order to ensure fair playing field, basically. In addition, we ask that no candidate ask another question of another candidate, just to be, as I mentioned, fair as well. But for this first question, and I'll put this in the chat. But with a lot of students facing rising fees and tuition hikes, what do you elected have and plan to address the cost of attendance for students? I'm going to put this in the chat for y'all. And we're going to start on over with our first presidential ticket, Dewan and Karina. Give me one moment though, just to put this in here. And just to let y'all know, you also only have 2 minutes to respond with a joint response. Already, there it is, on your first word.
Okay, so yes, that is a big issue that has arisen, especially last semester, with tuition hikes and student fees rising. I think to address it, I do think ASI can do a better job at informing students on the process of advocacy, I guess, fighting back against things like this. I know there's a lot of lobby days and things like that, because some of these effects are at the CSU wide level, and ASI doesn't able to directly affect that. But we do have ways that we can go and lobby and combat these fees and tuition hikes. And I do think that again, transparency. I know it's repetitive. Being transparent on what students' fees are going to and our money is actually being, because I'm a student too, I pay tuition, and I would want to know why is this happening? You know, I think that, and I think there was a lack of knowledge when coming to this because most of the forums were held during, time students were not able to come speak and give their grievances. And pass it off to Karina.
Yeah. So definitely lobbying and learning how to advocate for the rising tuition because again, it is sometimes at a CSU level and it's not at an ASI level. So we don't really have the jurisdiction to fight those budget cuts that are resulting in the rise in tuition. However, expanding basic need support, like increasing funding and visibility for emergency grants and housing assistance programs for the students, I believe would be very beneficial in helping fight the rise in the cost by alleviating the other cost of school. And like Dewan said, the transparency in the fees, advocating for a clear breakdown and the justifications of the student fees because the students deserve to know where our funds are going because we are paying for the school. And also, I believe in implementing more advocacy for student employment.
For
Okay.
your time. Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty, the question goes to you as well, Arjun and Richard. It's in the chat. You have 2 minutes.
So CSU stands for affordability. And now it breaks my heart that students are going through so much right now that many of them even are thinking they can afford and they have to drop out. So thinking of that at the CSU level, if elected, I do want to advocate for a cohort-based system like UC Davis and other universities have so that that instability once you are in college is mitigated. And now how do we do the damage control for the problem at hand? We have 3% return to aid component in the fee increase, which will go to the low-income students. But now my question is, what about the middle-class students? What about the international students, undocumented students who do not approve for financial aid? I want to look at the scholarships and reach out to our investors and get endowments and scholarships with lower criterias so that students can really get it. Because currently we have scholarships, but by the end of the year, so much of it goes unused. So I want to see how we can have more endowments because recently I talked at the President's Circle and reached out to them directly, our alum and our investors. And that's what I want to do, keep going forward, get more money for Sac State and make education more affordable. Richard?
Yes, and this is the one thing that I love about Erin is that she does her research, she picks up the phone, she's able to connect with people, and instead of pointing fingers, we can go ahead and make real solutions, not just hearing from the student body, but also with administrators and how we can make that happen together. As I've mentioned before, scholarships are going to get unused every single year. Well, why is that? We have to identify the reasonings of why this is happening. As I mentioned before, identify bottlenecks. Students get frustrated with the processes. Imagine applying for 60 scholarships and then just coming up with very little. And then also we can streamline that as well. One of the other ways that I want to help out is that, we can have the student fees increase the level up to reach the middle class and those in need.
Thank you. Now to end us off with this question, Armando and Shia, please.
Yeah, so when the question asks that what do you, if elected, have in plan to address the cost of attendance is to actually break down the full cost. So clearly make sure that Sac State defines all components of Sac State tuition, which includes tuition and fees, room and board, books and supplies, transportation, and all other personal expenses, because that will help students and their families actually understand what they're paying for. But also utilizing the net price calculator as well, so encouraging the use of that through the Sac State, and that would basically estimate how much a student would pay for here at Sac State on or off campus living. And so that's kind of one way to address the cost of attendance, and then Chaya can take over.
And then I also think that there are certain things that we can highlight that we already have on campus, such as scholarship opportunities and grants. I mean, even through ASI as well, that we have some of those available. Also, work study opportunities that are available for students, as well as federal and private loans that are available for students as well.
And that we know that 73% of students at Sac State receive financial aid. So it's really, really crucial that we make sure that we utilize the cost of attendance by breaking it down. And like I mentioned before, promoting that tool as well for students and their families.
Thank you all. We now have the second question. Let me go ahead and copy and paste it in the chat. We're going to circle on back to Dewan and Karina, please. Alrighty. ASI already publicizes, shares legislation, agenda, minutes, governing documents, scholarships, and financials. What specific gaps in transparency or accountability are you seeing, and how do you plan on to address them? Once again, ASI already publicly shares legislation, agendas, minutes, governing documents, scholarships, and financials. What specific gaps in transparency or accountability are you seeing, and how do you plan to address them? I'm sorry, that was sent to the wrong person. The question is now in the chat for everyone to view, and you have 2 minutes to give a joint response.
I don't think like yes, ASI shares all these things, but the students are not getting them. They're not seeing them. They're not, oh, where are the ASI meetings? Yes, it's I've seen them for the first time. Um, the advertisement in the union only for board meetings, but that should be weekly. ASI should post, oh, board meetings here in exact room, this time, same time every week. And students should be getting that. They're not getting that. And that's where the disconnect happens. And that's where you're able to go online and see comments made about ASI that really aren't true or are just misconstrued, and that causes disconnect. That causes disconnect, confusion, and frustration with students, and that's not actually what happened. And then we get situations where board members get attacked and things like that. So I think that the gap in transparency is really just the access to the information.
I 100% agree. Yes, these information is available, but you have to go seek it. Like I feel like if it was able to be like streamlined to them, a lot of people like Armando and Chaya mentioned are taking breaks from social media. They're not on Instagram. Some of them don't have Discord, so they're not getting it directly to their phone. They're having to search it up on the website and go to the ASI website to see exactly when the committees are meeting or when the board met and what was the outcome of their meeting. And I know that it takes people for me, when I first got here, somebody told me through word of mouth where to find it exactly. And I think that if it was more streamlined, like Dewan said, like a more up in the union, probably across campus, like posters up, then it would be easier for the transparency gap to be depleted.
Thank you both. We're now going to go on over to Oranjot and Richard for the same question, and it should be in the chat. You have 2 minutes.
When it comes to transparency, my major concern is that student body is for the student body. So why do students feel that gap in approaching the student body is what I really want to tackle. And talking about transparency, that's what happened last summer when the tuition was increased. And I remember I was in India and I was getting emails that Sac State is going to do a tuition increase. And after all of those things were posted and it was in my mind and brain and I was really stressing about it, then they were like, we're going to have listening sessions and really work on it. What I wanted to have at ASI is have it the other way around. Before making a statement, before making it really obvious, we listen to the students, what they want, and then come to a conclusion instead of setting a precedent the other way around. And then I believe social media is a strong tool. And social media is really strong because if people can connect with you, talk to you, they would really come to you. We really have to break the stigmas that the student body representatives are some other people. The students need to know that we are them and they can come talk to it. And it comes from town hall meetings, going out and talking to them, and on social media, leveraging talking to them to post, not just posters, but talking about what you feel like. So I believe that's what can be a real change maker. Richard?
And yeah, and then for me, I mean, honestly, what student has read a piece of legislation from top to bottom, a policy, anything like that? We kind of say this in a way, as I mentioned before, ASI is not a monolithic institution. So if we go out there and we actually talk to the student body, go out to the clubs, go to the Greek fraternities and sorority meetings, and actually break it down for any other human can actually understand. That's the first way of going about it. And moreover, is that we should have some sort of transparency, a one-stop shop on our website. You know that when I actually looked up for the finances of our school's budget, it went to 2023. Let's make it accessible for everybody.
Thank you both now, Armando and Shaya, for the second question.
Yeah, so we know that ASI, and I currently do sit on the board, that we do make really important legislation that every student should read, and we have it distributed to the university administration or anybody that we would like to send it to. But I think the specific gaps in transparency and accountability are more so, I think the students really see the lack of promotion, and like the previous two tickets had mentioned, it's just that some students don't really care to read the legislation or really go through ASI and actually look at what we're doing. And so, with those specific gaps in transparency, I believe that ASI has been transparent. It's just a matter of promotion and what we actually been doing and actually telling students, hey, we've been doing this and that, instead of having them to figure it out or hearing misinformation. And then Chai can touch on as well how we plan to address that.
I think that, I mean, we've mentioned previously about how we plan to address transparency as a whole through forums and such, but I think another way that we can address it is just through anonymous feedback. I think that that gives students a chance to express truly what they feel and how they feel that we can improve on different areas and what they feel we're lacking without feeling like they're going to receive some kind of backlash or something targeted towards them in any way. So I think that that might be a possible solution to the issue.
Alrighty, thank you all for answering the second question. Due to time's sake, we're only going to do one more question for y'all, and then we're going to do closing statements. So thank you all, everyone, for sending me those questions. These are really good questions, but we just have to move on due to time's sake. But we're going to go back to Jawan and Karina, and I'm going to put this in the chat as well. It's a little lengthy, but I'm just going to read it once and then drop it in the chat. Sac State has had many issues in the past regarding campus safety, like people lighting up trash cans at night or following and robbing people by the dorms, as well as a man entering a women's restroom in the Union. Because of a number of incidents, campus safety has become a big worry for many of us students. As presidential candidates, what steps do you plan to take to improve campus safety and actually make our campus feel like a safe space? I've dropped it in the chat. Richard and Karina, you all are going to be starting us off with this, and you have 2 minutes for a joint response, please.
Richard is my EVP. Don't steal him.
I am so
I was
sorry.
like,
I am so
no,
sorry.
you're good. No
Karina
You're
and
good.
worries. It's been a full day.
Okay. I think yes, I do believe that Sac State has a big safety issue, and when I was trying to run when I was running for ASI president, not president, sorry, Arsenal director, safety was one of the biggest things I wanted to see some change in. Um, I do think that there should be more forums and connection with the Sac State campus police department that we have, and talking with them and ensuring that they are here, like, some visibility for them as well. My interactions with Sac State campus PD is very limited. Couldn't even tell you one name, and I think that's an issue because students should know who they're being protected by. If that, there should be some connection, as well as I understand that we are a public campus. I do understand that, but there should be some more, I guess, protocol, and when people from off campus come onto campus, there shouldn't just be, you know, bad, because that allows bad actors to come here. And I do think that to ensure that our students who pay the tuition, who are putting the time and effort to come to this community, should have that safety net. And then Karina?
Yeah, I definitely think that requiring regular, transparent updates on safety incidents and preventative actions and response times so the students aren't just left out of what's happening on campus should should be implemented, and that we should launch proactive campaigns. Okay, I see. Around safety resources, reporting tools, and bystander interventions so that students are empowered and informed and they feel supported enough to intervene because, as we know, the bystander effect is real. And a lot of people will see something happening and don't think it's their responsibility to step up due to their own safety. And having the proper tools and the proper information to fight back on the safety on campus is very important, especially as a member of the Student Wellness and Safety and Sexual Assault Awareness Committees. Okay.
Thank y'all. We're now gonna go to Aranjot and Richard, please, for this last question. You have 2 minutes to respond, and the question is in the chat.
So I'm just going to start off with say this is Erin's biggest project. So I'm going to go ahead and let her fly. She has some really great ideas. Go ahead, Erin.
Let's talk about campus safety. So there has been, let me go back to this test, 216% increase in reported crime from 2021 and 2023. I'm a mixed martial arts fighter and I've been going to conduct self-defense classes since I was 14. And last year when I was going to a football game, there was a bunch of 5 men who tried to come at me. And I saved myself because I know how to speak up for myself. I went out and I looked what the reason was because I saw no police patrols around me. The answer was the patrols were there, but right all around the stadium. Why are they not at the North Village or the rest of the campus where we need them the most and where most of the stuff happens? And when I go to my gym, I see areas which are so dimly lit, and it's so hard to go through those areas feeling safe. So I'm like, why is there lesser lights on areas like the CSUS Trail? And that needs to be addressed. And now coming to self-defense resources, I've been advocating for self-defense resources since I got here. When I met Richard, I was pitching a self-defense app at the Carlson Center. And why? Because I know the importance of learning self-defense and being self-equipped. Combat U is my baby. I started it. And I know the importance of empowering students and making them equipped mentally more than physically so that they can defend themselves. So I want to have self-defense resources and events all around campus for free because I know students might not join Combat U thinking it's just for fighters. I want them to feel that resources are there for them and they can be self-equipped. That's what I want to do with campus safety and make sure that Sac State is as safe as it can be. Thank you.
Thank you. This question now goes to Armando and Shaya, please, and the question is in the chat, in which y'all both have 2 minutes to respond.
Thank you. I think the first step in addressing campus safety would be just to start by assessing our current landscape, put out surveys for students about what their safety concerns are, whether that's lighting, like we talked about previously, or mental health, policing. I think it's also important to meet with campus security, Title IX representatives, mental health services, just to talk about what our existing protocols are in these situations and to just talk about where we can improve on that. I also think that just like highlighting and working to improve certain things that we already have are also important, like safer transportation at night. I know we have the Hornet shuttle, but I think there might just be one active at night. So I think just working on that might also increase our campus safety. Also working to increase lighting, as Aranjot mentioned, and emergency call stations as well would be imperative to this. And I also think just building access to like our security as well, that students just know who to call, make sure that we're promoting those things and those direct lines to our security on campus. And I also think just like promoting inclusive safety for all different parts of our campus as well, such as our LGBTQ plus community, international students, just making sure that they're consulted in what and feel represented in safety decisions as well, so that everybody feels represented.
And as well as expanding and with the peer-led safety that we have at Sac State, the peer health educators program, and also creating an like anonymous reporting system that we have for like Title IX, but also advocating for 24/7 crisis support access. So for mental health that students may need, we know that the Well provides mental health counseling, but it's only for a certain time for I believe it's like a 9 to 5. And so as well as requiring that campus safety reports to the students about the crimes that the state and the changes and the initiative that they're doing so that we know that they're involved within the safety at Sac State.
Alrighty, thank you all for answering those questions. We are done with the Q&A session of today's forum. We'll now do 4 minutes for a joint closing statement. We're going to circle back and have Dewan and Karina start us off, please.
We just wanted to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to come listen to us and engage and imagine a better sex day with us. I think it's very important for students to be involved in what is going on campus and with student government because our sorry our actions affect this campus and affect you as students. Simple as that.
Yeah, so this campaign was never just about votes, it's about visibility, voice, and validation. And that means staying connected, staying available, and staying accountable. So if you have more to share, more to ask, or just want to get to know us better, you can come into our DMs on Instagram at yourvoice.ouraction, or just feel free to learn more about our initiatives and things that we have to say. We want to hear from you.
And exactly like she said, we're here to listen and lead with integrity and boldness, because we are here for students, again, by students. This campaign is rooted in purpose. That's fighting for those who've been overlooked and advocating for those who feel disconnected and bridging the gap between the student experience and student government.
Yeah, so whether that's expanding career opportunities, pushing for financial transparency, or elevating cultural rooted student organizations, our commitment runs deep. And we don't want the titles for the sake of power or accolades. We want the roles to allow us to serve you guys better. So whether you're a first generation college student, a commuter who only comes to campus for class, a transfer student still finding your space on campus, or someone balancing school with jobs and a family, we see you. We are you. And we're running to serve you.
Because representation shouldn't just be symbolic, it shouldn't just be a facade. It should be structural, it should be tangible actions. And we're here to build those, structures together and enact change. Let's turn your voice into our collective action. That's what our whole campaign is for. Your voice, our action. So I would say just vote for
Time, time,
Dewan and Karina.
time.
Thank y'all. We'll now go over to Aranjot and Richard, please, for your closing statement, in which you have 4 minutes.
Thank you, everyone who all joined here, listening to us, and all those who have been supporting us throughout the campaigning and in the future, too. When I come here at this platform, I come because I found my home away from home at Sac State because of the people I met. I came here, I applied to Sac State not because I really wanted to go to Sac State, but because my gym happened to be 1 mile away. And then once I got to Sac State, we started Combat U, and then my home became home here at Sac State. So now moving forward, I'm not saying that I'm going to become a completely different individual if I'm elected as your student body president. I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I want to keep making my voice heard. That's what I did, speaking at the president's circle, talking to our stakeholders directly, being part of the student panel at the spring address, which is making sure that the diverse student body is heard and that your voice is heard. Because we really have to take care of the gaps in the resources to make sure that every student who come here, be from any background, be from another state, be from another country, they should feel at home. Combat U really brought so many students from all around the globe because students came from Hawaii, they came from Tennessee, and they're coming from all around the globe just because they want to be part of the program. That's what I want for Combat U. It is a commuter school. I want to make sure that we go out on the map and students are like, hey, what is Sac State doing? I want to go there. We want to make waves. And yes, President Luke Wood has been really influential in bringing changes. We want to make sure that we are there to make sure that your education is accessible, your innovative ideas are heard, your diversity and your ethnic backgrounds are really appreciated, and you are safe on campus to begin with, because if you're not safe here, that is a problem. Richard.
So, speaking from the heart and not from a script, I believe you don't have to be in politics to be political. You have to have the heart. As yesterday, when we walked out of the darkness,
Time.
Wasn't it 2 minutes? Because I put the timer.
I thought it was 4 minutes.
No, it's 2 minutes. Everyone's been getting 2 minutes. Oh, I've been doing 2 minutes.
Oh, I thought it was, didn't Tyler just say 4 minutes closing
Was it
statement? And it
four?
says also presidential 4 minute joint closing statement.
Four?
Yeah, it's supposed to
Okay,
be a
I'll watch it.
4 minute
Okay.
joint
No
closing.
worries. It's totally fine.
Dewan and
Um,
Karina, if you guys want 2 more minutes, let's do those two.
okay. So I'll go ahead and start my 2 minutes now. So as I said before, you don't have to be in politics to be political. You just have to lead from the heart. As I yesterday, when I participated in the Out of the Darkness walk, my sign said, be the hand that the younger self needed. Be the courage to stand up for what's right. And also be the voice for the voiceless. Aaron and I have laid out our plans to help fight financial affordability, fight for innovation, fight for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and fight for campus safety. As I said before, I believe in structural changes and not just symbolic. And I also want to shine light on not just Greek life and elevate that at the ASI level to help remove stigma. But as mentioned before in the last question, men entering women's restroom in the union. I'm here to stick up for all students. And I believe that transphobic messages like that has no place here at Sac State. That we can go ahead and remove the misconceptions by introducing that we have a gender neutral bathroom in here as well. But also, I hear that we should all advocate for all voices. So whether you're left, right, up, down, you have a right and a place here at Sac State. And moreover, we're all about getting not just completing our education here, but it's about what you're doing outside the classroom. It's about how you can uplift those around you, especially not just with civic engagement, but helping from them that may not even need the help, or not to say need the help, but may not have the courage to say, hey, I'm currently couch surfing. I don't know what to do because I've been in that situation. I've been up and down Market Street in San Francisco with all my belongings, and I had to choose between doing homework and choosing a place to live. So if we can go ahead and really make structural changes versus symbolic towards finances, campus safety, innovation, and financial affordability. Thank you.
Time for real.
Alrighty, we're gonna circle back to Juan and Karina. I believe you all have 2 minutes to finish off your closing statements. And then check the chat for the warnings, please.
Again, we just want to radiate. Remember, it's your voice, our action, and that we're running off Hornet Power, which is health and wellness, opportunities, resources, networking, engagement, transparency, promotion, outreach, well-being, empowerment, and responsibility. That is what we want to bring to the Hornets and give you that power.
Yeah, so our 5 initiatives is to fight the CSU budget cuts and to advocate for staff, improve student engagement and well-being, inclusivity and diversity, career development and networking opportunities, and redesigning our digital presence here on campus. Things that can look like is by increasing internship and job fairs, increased skill development workshops across colleges, not just a specific focus like on the College of Business or the College of Social Science and Interdisciplinary Studies across the campus. And yeah, so that's a little bit more about our initiatives and our campaign slogan and our bringing in fostering Hornet power on campus.
So on April 16th and 17th, it's important to vote, period. But, vote for Dewan and Karina for ASI President EVP because, together we leave with purpose, power, and pride. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank y'all. We're gonna finish off with the last closing statement from Armando and Shaya, please.
Thank you all for allowing us the time to speak with you today. We are running for you, the students who deserve more transparency, more encouragement, more opportunities. We are committed to building a campus where every voice is heard, every student is supported, and every single person feels like they truly belong. We know the challenges we face: lack of connection with ASI, a feeling of exclusion in student life, and a system that hasn't always prioritized your needs. But we also know the solutions. With open forums, increased student life funding, and direct student-centered leadership, we will transform these challenges into opportunities for growth, connection, and empowerment.
And our plan is your plan, and your voice is at the heart of everything we do. We are here not just to lead, but to listen and act on what matters to you. We have advocated against the budget cuts, and we have advocated for legislation that would greatly impact students at the state capitol. As much as we can try and change certain CSU policy and or target the administration directly, that can potentially ruin relationships. However, we can continue to advocate, provide real and actual solutions, and collaborate heavily with not just the university, but with the CSU system as a whole. So on April 16th and 17th, we ask for your vote, not just for us, but for a future where Sac State is a true reflection of what students want, need, and deserve. Together, we can build a campus that honors your voice and creates a lasting impact for all students. Thank you for your time, your trust, and your commitment. We are Hornet Pride. Vote best for last on the ballot. Armando Julian Perez.
And Chaya Vikash. Thank you.
Alrighty, that concludes our candidate forums for the entire day. Thank you so much for being here and showing up. I truly appreciate y'all. And this will be recorded and put on the ASI website within the coming days. Please, 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 in the words of Sabrina Carpenter, vote next week on April 16th and 17th and encourage our constituents to vote as well. Bye, everyone.